What's going on, YouTube? It's your girl DeeDee. Welcome back to the channel. So I am back with another video reaction for you guys. Now, Netflix is in the news, you guys. Netflix loses 15 billion in market value after Elon Musk calls for subscription cancellations. So I want to hop into the story because I thought this was very interesting and also very shocking because of this Netflix cartoon that we're seeing being promoted to kids. And this is something that, you know, I'm always opposed to because I have, you know, young children and I have older children, and I'm opposed to this type of rhetoric being taught to children in school. So I just wanted to share my thoughts on this, and I want to get y'all thoughts on this as well. What do you think about Netflix losing over 15 billion in market value after Elon Musk called for this for subscription cancellations over this ideology that they're pushing towards young children? I want to play a little snippet of what is actually happening, then I want to give my thoughts on it, and I want you guys to chime in on this because, you know, this is really getting out of hand, and I definitely have an opinion, so I'm going to share it. But before I do, let's get into the video. Before we get into the video, make sure you are subscribed to the channel if you like the content, share and like the video, and hit that notification bell to be notified when I upload new content, all right? So let's get into this story. Here we go.
Developing this morning, another case of go woke, go broke, and this time Netflix feeling the heat. Over the past week, Netflix has lost $15 billion in market value after users canceled their subscriptions. Earlier this week, Elon Musk began the calls for a boycott after Netflix premiered a show called Dead End Paranormal Park, which Musk said pushes transgender ideology. That animated series has a transgender main character and was designated as appropriate for kids as young as 7 years old. The controversial cartoon caused a firestorm online when social media influencer posting. Netflix is an activist outfit hell-bent on ideological indoctrination. As part of its fund for creative equity, it has given hundreds of thousands of dollars to the Transgender Film Center in order to bring more trans-made stories to the world.
This is crazy. This is crazy to me. Listen, I think to push this to kids as young as 7 years old is ridiculous. It's not about your personal lifestyle or preference, because once again, I have no problem with your personal preference or lifestyle and what you choose to do, but to try to push this agenda on kids is just preposterous, and it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's insane to me. There's no way in hell I would be comfortable with my kids being taught this in school when a lot of times these young kids don't even know anything about sex. They don't know anything about themselves. They don't know anything about this lifestyle. They don't know what all of this is. So it just doesn't make sense to try to push this onto these kids in schools, to try to force this agenda on these children as if this is something that they have to be aware of at such a young age. It doesn't make any sense to me. Once again, it's not about, as an adult, your personal preferences. As an adult, you can choose to do whatever you want to do, and if you have a family, you can teach that to your family if that's what you believe in. But not everybody is on the same page with this, and I don't think that it is helpful to push this onto these kids beyond their parents' consent. And a lot of these kids don't even know about sex or any of these things, and it can be very confusing to these kids. This is crazy to me to try to push this, but I also want to play a clip from part of what they're pushing in the schools to just hear it for yourself. And I want to know your thoughts on this, but this is really getting out of hand, and I see why there's a push to cancel Netflix, because if this is what you're going to be selling and pushing to people's kids, they have a right to not want to be involved with any of that, and for their kids to not to be exposed to this type of indoctrination, because that's what it is. It's not about having a preference as adults and do what you want to do, because that's your business. But when you're trying to push this onto other people's kids, even though this might not be their, what they subscribe to, is just insane. But let's go ahead and play a little bit of what is being taught in the schools. Check this out.
I am non-binary. My pronouns are they, them. Hey, good morning, class. My name is Teacher Roby. I'm going to do a quick introduction before we get started. Here's my teacher picture. Everyone in here will be able to take a picture this year, so I'm excited to see how those come out. I am non-binary. My pronouns are they, them. For example, they are a great art teacher. They taught us how to draw a stitch. It is super important to get our pronouns right. If you do make a mistake, I will politely correct you. No worries. That goes for me too. So if I ever get your name or pronouns wrong, please correct me every single time. I am from Brooklyn, New York. I graduated high school in 2012. There's me when I was younger. I then went on to graduate from Rutgers, Camden, right in the city. I also went on to get my graduate degree from Relay Graduate School of Education. I graduated in 2021. I love to travel. I love my family. So this is my family. Raise your hand if you have family or if you feel like you have people in your life who care about you or you care about, and those are the people you consider family. So I hope everybody has somebody in their life that loves and cares about them.
So I just only thing I want to say is she said her pronouns are they, them. I remember being taught in school, we were taught grammar, English, and all of that. And, they, them, they means that's more than one. You know what I'm saying? Like when you refer to they, that's more than one. How do you explain that to 7 and 8 year olds when they're being taught in school how to, correct grammar and English and things of that nature? How do you explain to them logically what that actually means? Non-binary and all of these things. Once again, if you are an adult and you've researched these things and you've, put in the time and the effort and work into learning what all of this is and how you want this to apply to your life and stuff, I understand that. That's your personal choice and you should be able to have that. But when you're trying to push this onto little kids, it can become confusing. And these kids have to go home to their parents and explain this is what they're being taught in schools. And they have to come home and the parents have to be subjected to this because this is what their kids are being taught, even if you don't agree with it. So if you don't agree with this as a parent and you don't want your kids learning this stuff at such a young age at that, what is the recourse for not having your kids being subjected to this type of rhetoric? Do you have to pull your kids out of school? Because that would be one option, but many people aren't able to do that, to just take their kids out of the schools because the schools seem to have an agenda to indoctrinate these kids into this type of rhetoric, this ideology that you may not agree with. If I don't agree with it, I don't want my kids being taught it. That's my personal preference. But somehow it seems to be okay to put this type of stuff out here. They want to promote it on these platforms like Netflix and all of these shows to try to push this agenda when this is not something that everybody is into or want their kids to be exposed to at such a young age. And why is it starting so young? It's like you're trying to get these kids as young as possible so that they can really be indoctrinated into this, because if the younger you start with them, the more they can get this into their system and believe it and it be a part of their mentality. I don't agree with this at all. I think this should not be happening. This is why a lot of people think that the school systems are set up to teach these kids this stuff rather than just teaching them regular English and math and the things that they need for basic, life skills. All of this is not necessary. This is not something that you have to teach these young children. This is not something that they need. And I think you should leave it up to the parents to decide if this is what they want their young kids being taught. I don't think school should be incorporating this because it has nothing to do with education and knowledge. It's something else that eventually is a personal preference. It's not something that they need in life. You don't have to learn about this, and you don't have to learn about it at 7 years old. This is crazy, y'all. Let's continue.
That being said, I do have my fur babies. This is my dog Nala and my 2 cats, Arthur and Ariel. This past summer, we went to Italy, so that's super exciting. I want all of you to get an opportunity to travel and do the things that you love to do. Joy is super important in this space. Everyone is welcome. Everyone belongs here. In order to make this a safe space, you all have to believe and trust that you belong here and you are welcome here.
Now, while I think, she seems to be like a decent teacher, but at the same time, I just think that this should be excluded from schools and children. I think adults who want to explore that and maybe learn more, it's up to you. That's your personal preference. But as children, the parents are responsible for their kids and what they want their kids to learn and what they want them to adopt and, things that they want to teach them and expose them to. That's up to the parents. It shouldn't be up to the schools and the teachers. I'll say it again. This is something that parents should have the rights to include or exclude their children from. I don't think this should be taught in schools. I don't care. I think this is something you need to learn as you get older. You know what I'm saying? It is a form of indoctrination, and I think that is bad. Let's continue.
This Netflix cancellation campaign has gone so viral, with hundreds of thousands of people canceling their Netflix subscriptions, including Elon Musk. It's the #1 trend in the world, and Netflix has lost billions of dollars in their stock. You can see right here.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. And then they're losing money. They've lost already. They're reporting $15 billion in market value because of this cartoon that promotes this trans agenda for kids, all of this stuff. And I watched a couple of the videos, and I was just like, I did not like it at all. That is not something that I would want to teach my 8-year-old. I have an 8-year-old. I would want to sit him down and teach him about transgender and non-binary and he, thee, and they, and we, and all of this. Like, that is not something that they need to be learning that young. Why would they need to know that? And it's a setup to try to get these kids already like entrenched into this at a young age, to open their minds up to something that they're not even prepared for. They don't even know who they are. They don't know what all of this stuff mean. They're kids. They should be watching regular cartoons teaching numbers and alphabets and things of that nature. All of these cartoons, they're creating cartoons to gather and indoctrinate the kids and take what parents want to teach their children out of the loop. Like, the parents are irrelevant. You can't, as a parent, you don't have the right to teach your kids what you believe in. You gotta subject them to this stuff that everybody else believes in and not you. That's crazy. And if that's your thing and you are okay with that, well, then you have a choice. But what about the people who don't have a choice? And the people who don't want their kids exposed to that? It's a one-sided thing. It's almost as if you're forced to have to go with something that you don't believe in. And when I saw this, I was just flabbergasted. I was just like, I know you lying. And this is something that we're watching happen over the course of some time now. We're seeing that there's an effort to try to indoctrinate people and force people into this lifestyle that not everyone is willing nor want to adopt. And I just think that it takes away your choice, like to raise your kids and teach them what you want, as opposed to them just forcing this all on them, and especially so young. I just think it's ridiculous. And like I said, as an adult, you can choose to do what you want. I don't have a problem with adults choosing how they want to be addressed, the choices you want to make in life, but don't try to force this on people's children. I just think that's out of line. So I see why people are unsubscribing to Netflix, because if this is the agenda that they're going to continue to push, and the more people try to force people into this and also try to indoctrinate kids into it, the more they may lose money, because people are tired of this sort of thing. People are tired of trying to be forced into something that they don't agree with. If you agree with it, fine. But if I don't, I shouldn't have to worry about my kids going to school and learning something that I'm not ready for them to learn, or something I don't want them to learn. You get what I'm saying? So listen, y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments below. Baby, I thought this was crazy. Let me know your thoughts about Elon Musk calling for people to unsubscribe to Netflix. What do you think about the billions that they've already lost? And do you think this trend will continue? What do you think about this ideology being taught in schools? Do you agree or disagree with it? Do you think it's a problem or not? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Comment, like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Leave your thoughts. I want to hear what you have to say, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.